Photography can be overwhelming, especially for those who are just getting started. So stick with us in this episode of Photography 180, and I hope to have you walking away from your next session with better compositions. Hey everyone, welcome back to the series. In order to create visually compelling photos, we really need to put emphasis on good composition. So we're going to dive right into 4 tips that you can use to improve your compositions. And we're going to start with number 1, the rule of thirds. Now the rule of thirds is a compositional guideline in photography, and what it means is we're taking an image and splitting it into 9 equal parts using 2 equally spaced horizontal lines and 2 equally spaced vertical lines. And what that does is it allows us an opportunity to place the important elements in our image at intersecting points. This tends to create good balance and overall good composition. Now, of course, this is a rule like any others that is meant to be broken, so don't only abide by the rule of thirds when you're creating your images. However, if you're just starting out, using the rule of thirds can be helpful, and I'll show you some examples of my own work where the rule of thirds was really put into play. Next up is leading lines, and leading lines is another compositional element we have at our disposal, and ultimately what we're doing here is guiding our viewer's attention through the frame to what's most important, our main subjects. We can use things like roadways, pathways, a hallway, different architectural elements or environmental elements, whatever it might be. We're bringing our attention towards what's most important. This can create depth as well as imply motion. But either way, leading lines can be a great way to achieve better composition. And here's an example of how leading lines really played a great part in the composition. Number 3 is framing, and framing involves using elements within our scene to frame our subjects. This is going to create better sense of depth and focus. Now, when you're out there, I want you to look for natural framing opportunities. Could be archways, could be windows, or even tree branches. Either way, here are a few examples where framing played a big role in our composition. Last but not least is symmetry. Now, symmetry is another great compositional technique that we can use to our advantage to create images that have a greater sense of balance and harmony. By creating an image that is more visually appealing, we make it easier for our viewer to process. This can only work to our advantage. So look for some symmetrical elements to place your subjects in front of during your next shoot. And in the meantime, check out an example of how we use symmetry to our advantage. So that is it for today. We had 4 quick tips on how to walk away from your next shoot with better compositions. Remember that rule of thirds, leading lines, framing, and of course, symmetry. Practice on those 4 things alone, and I guarantee you the results you're gonna get are going to be much more visually appealing. Thanks for checking out this episode of Photography 180. I hope it's been helpful, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week.